All right, this is Unit 2, Day 2 notes. Multiplication properties of exponents. Okay, learning target 1, you're going to use the laws of exponents to simplify an expression. So what does 2 to the 8th power represent? How can I rewrite it out longhand? Okay, 2 to the 8th means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 8 times. Okay, so long ways, that's what it shows. If, when we evaluate the numbers more than 4 digits, we will leave it in exponent form. So what if we multiply two terms that have exponents? Okay, this is 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 5 is going to equal 2 to the power of 7, not 4 to the power of 10. Okay, you are not multiplying the bases and you are not multiplying the exponents. So here you're going to have 3 to the 5th, not 9 to the 4th. Okay, and lastly, you're going to have 8 to the 14th, not 64 raised to the power of 40. Okay, so what are we doing with our exponents here? When we're multiplying, we are actually going to add our exponents together. Okay, so when multiplying powers that have the same base, so important here, same base, we are going to add the exponents and the base does not change. So the base stays exactly the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and give a couple a try here. Okay, if you notice here, we have the same base, so the base is going to stay the same. So then we're going to do 9 plus 2 equals 11. So our answer is k to the power of 11. All right, number 2, same base, so we're going to keep it the same and add our exponents, 2 plus 3. So you're going to have 4 to the 5th power. 3 is the same way. Our bases are the same. Even though there is not an exponent shown, we can still know that there's a 1 there. So it's 1 plus 7, you have a to the 8th power. All right, number 4. Okay, number 4 is where it gets a little different. Okay, all of our bases are the same. So we're going to keep the same base and add our exponents. 5 plus negative 2 plus 3. Okay, but the numbers out front are different. Okay, we're going to multiply those together just as we would multiply anything else. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So you're going to get negative 12n to the 6th power. And notice we kept our base the same and just multiplied the units out front. So here we have different bases, but that's okay. Okay, m, and m, we're going to go ahead and add those exponents together. And here we have k and k. So m, 3 plus 8 is 11, plus 1 is 12. So then k, 12 plus 14, 26. All right, number 6. Okay, all your bases are the same here, x, x. Okay, y is going to stay this, be there by itself. Okay, so then we also have our different units out front. 2 times 4 times 2. Okay, our x's stay, so x negative 2 plus 8 is 6. Then our y to the 6th is just coming down. Since we're not multiplying it, we're not adding anything, it's just staying the same. So our final answer here is 2 times 4 times 2 is 16, x to the 6th, y to the 6th. So there's our final answer there. All right, number 7 and number 8 are going back to a little bit of a review from day 1. So remember, anything raised to the power of 0 is going to be 1. So negative 8n to the 5th times 3 times 1, since right here, n to the power of 0 equals 1, times this whole problem right here is going to be 1, so times 1, times 4n to the negative 12. So let's go ahead and combine everything now. So negative 8 times 3 times 4, okay, and 5 plus negative 12 is negative 7. So you're going to get here negative 32. No, I'm sorry. You have negative 8 times 3 times 4. You're going to get negative 272. N to the negative 7th. And remember, we cannot have n to the negative 7th because it has a negative exponent. So we're going to move this to the denominator. Your final answer is negative 272 over n to the 7th. All right, lastly, you're going to have number 8 here. So let's go ahead and move our denominators and numerators around if we need to. So in this case, we got to move here. All right, let's simplify our fraction out front. Our first step, 4 divided by a is 1/2. So 1/2, you have n to the 14th, y to the 15th, n to the 5th, and y to the 8th. So now go ahead and simplify n to the 14th, n to the 5th. Our terms you're going to combine and add your exponents. Okay, so you have n to the 19th, y to the 23rd over 2. Okay, so when you're multiplying your exponents, you're multiplying numbers with exponents, you are going to add the exponents if they have the same base. All right, let's move on. Now, what does a to the 3rd all raised to the 4th power mean? How can I rewrite it longhand? This is a to the 3rd times a to the 3rd times a to the 3rd times a to the 3rd. That's what it means longhand-wise. So what are we doing with our exponents now? Okay, this is a little different. Now we're going to multiply our exponents. So when you have one base raised to 2 powers, you multiply the exponents and the base does not change. Okay, so in our example, 3 to the 4th raised to the 5th is 3 raised to the 4 times 5. You get 3 to the 20th. All right, let's give one a try. So here you're going to go ahead and multiply your exponent. It's kind of like you're distributing in a way. Okay, so here it's 3 raised to the 15th power. Okay, that's going to end up being a large number, so we're just going to leave it like that. So it works with variables too. Go ahead and distribute your exponents there. So it's b 9 times 2, you get b to the 18th. Same here. Go ahead and do that. 4 times 4 equals p to the 16th. Okay, so when you have an exponent that you're multiplying, okay, you're just going to kind of distribute it and multiply it across to the other exponents. So let's go ahead and try here. Number 4. Okay, number 4 is just like we just worked on. Okay, they have the same base, so you're multiplying together. So all you're going to do is add your exponents. Okay, it's nothing that we just talked about right above here. Number 5, though, is just like that. So you have x, 3 times 9. So you have x to 27th. Okay, notice the difference. Here, the 9 is attached to the parentheses. Over here, they're just two separate ones being multiplied together. Okay, number 6, you have the same base, so you're going to go ahead and add your exponents. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, then multiply your whole numbers out front. 2 times 1 is 2. So 2p is your answer. And number 7, okay, you're going to go ahead and multiply 4 times 6, and you get p to the 24th. Okay, go ahead and try number 8 and 9, and we'll check back in a second. All right, so remember at number 8, if you multiply them together, 9 times negative 8 is negative 72. All right, you cannot have a negative exponent, so you got to move that to the denominator. All right, number 9, just because you do 3 minus 3 and you get 0, that does not cancel out the entire variable. Okay, remember y to the 0 is actually going to end up equaling 1. All right, let's look at one more thing for today then. Okay, if we have many things being multiplied in our parentheses, we distribute the exponent to each term on the inside. All right, so for example, you go ahead and distribute here. Distribute here. Each term needs to be distributed the exponent. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. So number 1, okay, how many terms do we have on the inside? You have 4, you have y, and you have z. So that 3 needs to be distributed to everything. Okay, 3 times 1 is 3. Then you have y, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Then you have z, remember there's a power of 1 there, so 3. Okay, now go ahead and simplify. 4 to the third power is 64. Our y to the negative 6th here needs to be moved to our denominator. So y to the 6th gets moved down there. Z to the third stays. There's your final answer. So every term on the inside needs to be distributed. So number 2, negative 7 is going to be distributed, and z is going to have the 2 distributed. So negative 7 to the second power, and you have z raised to the second power. So go ahead and answer that. You have 49 z to the second power. All right, number 3. Go ahead, distribute your exponent across. So x, 9 times 2 is 18. Y, 6 times 2 is 12. And z, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, there's nothing else you have to do there. You're done. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at number 4. Okay, number 4 is a bit different. So we're going to go ahead, and because this is a negative exponent, we're going to write the whole thing underneath, and which gets rid of our negative exponent. That's just like in number 1, how y to the negative 6 we move to the denominator. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing with number 4 to get rid of our negative exponent. So now you can go ahead and distribute that 4 across the board. So you have negative 2 raised to the 4th. You have x, 3 times 4 is 12. Y, 10 times 4 is 40. And z, 3 times 4 is 12. All over 1. So let's go ahead and answer that. Negative 2 to the 4th power is going to be 16. X to the 12 stays, y to the 40 stays, and z to the 12 stays. So your final answer is 1 over 16x to the 12, y to the 40, z to the 12. Okay, go ahead and give number 5 and 6 a try on your own. All right, so number 5, nothing too difficult there. You just distribute it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Number 6 is similar, okay, except for you have the negative out front. So after you're done simplifying, you have to then distribute that negative 1 out front to everything, and you end up getting negative 36a squared. All right, let's go ahead and try putting everything together now. Everything that we have learned this past 2 days. Okay, so here you got to distribute your negative or your 4 everywhere. So 2 to the 4th, x to the 12th, y to the 4th. Okay, x to the negative 5th, y. So now simplify. You get 16. Okay, we have like terms here, so we're going to go ahead and add our exponents. 12 minus 5 is 7. Okay, you also have your y's, so we're going to add those exponents because they're all being multiplied together here. So y to the 5th. It's your final answer. You have no negative exponents, nothing to move to the numerator or denominator. So you're done. All right, let's take a look at this next one. Okay, so -3 raised to -2. So -3, -2. 3 times -2 is -6 times, go ahead and distribute here, 2 to the 4th, x to the 28th, and then y to the 4th. All right, so you have -3 has to move to the denominator. Okay, let's redo this one. I'm sorry, let's redo this completely. We're actually going to move this to the denominator right away. So you're going to have 2 to the 4th on top, x to the 7th on top, and y to the 4th on top, while you have -3 raised to the 2nd, a raised to the 6th. All right, so now 2 to the 4th is 16th, x to the 28th is staying, y to the 4th is staying. Then you have 9, a to the 6th. Can you reduce 16 over 9? No, you cannot. So your answer is right here, final. Okay, remember, anything you have raised to a negative exponent, go ahead and put it in the denominator right away. All right, let's try 2. Okay, 2 times x squared. All right, here we don't have any distributing, no simplifying to do, so we're just going to go ahead and start combining terms. So x squared, x to the 8th. Okay, remember your base stays the same and you add your exponents. Okay, y to the 19th, base stays the same, add your exponents. Z to the 4th, that's all we have there, so you're just going to write z to the 4th. And now you have your whole numbers out front. 2 times -4 is -8. No negative exponents to move, so that's your final answer. All right. So, number 4, you have a negative exponent, so go ahead and move that up to the numerator. So let's go ahead and simplify. -2 times 1, because your x to the 0 becomes a 1, times xy to the 5th, times, go ahead and distribute, -3 to the 4th power, x to the 16th, y to the 12th, and then you have to rewrite your x to the 4th that we moved from the denominator to the numerator. So now go ahead and start simplifying. -2 times, you have -2 times -3 raised to the 4th power. When you do that, you're going to end up with 81. You have x to the 16th, x to the 4th. Base stays the same. You add your exponents to 21. Okay, y to the 5th, y to the 12th. You get y to the 17th, and then there's your problem. All right, let's try one more. And number 5, you got to move your negative exponent to the bottom. So you get -2. X goes on the bottom. Okay, go ahead and distribute here. So you get x to the 0 power, then x to the -12. Okay, x to the -12 is actually going to move to your numerator or denominator. So you have -2 times 1 because of x to the 0 over x times x to the 12th. Okay, so you have -2 over x to the 13th. Okay, why don't you go ahead and try 6 and 7 and 8 on your own. All right, so go ahead and check your answers. When you're done, your homework tonight is worksheet 2. Okay, good luck. If you have any questions, come find your teacher or go to the resource room.